Delivering quality presentations is hard. Dear Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, the most welcome guests, you all know that. We need to select and organize our content. We need to think about perfect sentences, about our voice inflections and our body language. Above all, we need to move, engage, and captivate our audience. All that is hard enough, even when we are speaking to people who understand our language and belong to the same culture as we do. Now imagine that you need to deliver a presentation to people who don't understand your language, who don't belong to your culture. Makes things a little bit more interesting. And nowadays, presenting for a foreign audience is a common occurrence. Most likely, you will be speaking through an interpreter when you are delivering your presentation to an international multilingual audience. Being an interpreter, I can talk for hours about all intricacies of international communication. But if you could remember and implement just 3 basic rules, you would have a great chance to become a wonderful, successful international presenter. What are those rules? First, speak in clear and concise sentences. Pause after each sentence. And finally, make your presentation available to your interpreter as far in advance as possible. Last December, I started a series of lectures on successful communication with multilingual international audience. We discussed the fact that languages are vastly incongruent, that there is very little lexical, grammatical, and syntactical equivalency among the languages, which means that even if you have your sweet time and you can work with a written text, translation is hard. Now, when you will be presenting before people who don't speak your language, the interpreter needs to deliver this translation instantaneously. And speeches and presentations are being delivered in the simultaneous mode, which means that the interpreter will be interpreting almost at the same time as the speaker is speaking, lagging just a few words, just a few units of meaning behind the speaker. Simultaneous interpretation is a good thing. It saves time. A speaker doesn't need to stop for translation. It allows for immediate, parallel rendering of the content. On the other hand, for an interpreter, listening to information, translating the information, and pronouncing this information out loud in the target language is a hard job. Here you see MRI images of a human brain when it performs various language-related functions. Listening to words, pronouncing words, generating words. Usually, humans are involved in 1 or 2 mental processes at a time. The interpreter needs to perform 5 such processes. We need to listen to the incoming message. We need to understand and analyze it. We need to convert it into the target language, which is a challenge on its own. We need to pronounce it in the target language. And finally, we need to monitor our performance, making sure that our interpretation is accurate, complete, that our voice sounds pleasantly to a listener, that we are speaking in grammatically and stylistically correct sentences. And in the meantime, the presenter keeps speaking. The new information is coming our way. Well, you can tell, Madam Interpreter, it's all very fascinating, but why I, a presenter, should be concerned with the challenges of your work? After all, you are a professional, you have been trained, you are well compensated for your job, just do your job. And you are right. However, the success of your presentation depends on how well I do my job. It is in your best interest to make sure that I keep all balls in the air. How? First, make sure that your ideas are crystal clear. Again, I will be repeating it again and again. We don't work with words. We work with units of meaning and units of information. And in the simultaneous mode, my time and my brain power are very limited. So if I will be focusing on trying to understand what you are saying and where you are going, it means I would underperform in other areas. My translation will be deficient, my delivery will be deficient. So clarity is of utmost importance. Second, speak in short sentences, units of meaning. A short, clear sentence is the easiest unit of meaning to work with. Pause after each sentence. You see, the English language is a very concise, very dense language. It takes longer to say the same thing in any other given language. So while you are pausing, you are allowing your interpreter to catch up with you. On the other hand, don't slow down too much. We need a steady feed of information. And the best rate of speech for simultaneous interpretation is 120 words per minute. And finally, make your speech available to the interpreter beforehand. If we have a chance to become familiar with the general content of your speech, if we have the time to research challenging terminology and statistical data, it means that during interpretation, we'll shift our mental focus from understanding and translating to delivery. We'll make sure that your ideas, your emotions, your personality, your brilliant intelligence shine through language barriers. We'll make sure that your audience appreciates you and your ideas. As an interpreter, I know that I do my job well when people forget that they don't speak the same language, when they forget that they work with an interpreter. But it takes two to tango. You, the presenter, me, the interpreter. Let's deliver a perfect performance. Thank you.